Thanks for joining us today. My name is Richard Paul, and I'm a product development engineer here at Utility Composites. I am joined by Dr. Pamela Tucker. She is the Vice President at UCI. And today we want to talk to you about UCI's latest product line, SUNDOG RFID staples. If your company has been considering implementing radio frequency identification or RFID tracking technology for your inventory management operations, or if you are an integrator who has experience implementing this technology, then this video will show you what SUNDOG staples are and how they can be the right solution to challenging applications. So the benefits of using passive ultra-high frequency, or UHF, RFID technology for inventory management are known and include very fast read rates, up to hundreds of tags per second, long distance readability, and real-time inventory and location of that inventory, which will allow you to have detailed data reporting to better optimize your inventory. And this boils down to two main benefits for the user: saving labor time and saving money by having better inventory visibility and reducing your losses. So these RFID tags are already available in a variety of configurations for the highest volume markets. But we want to focus in on a smaller group of applications that all have one thing in common. They are difficult to tag because they have rough wood surfaces. The timber industry has been poised to adopt RFID technology for tracking loads and logs, but there has not yet been a tag that can meet the extreme demands of these applications. The existing tags are either adhesive-backed or they are rugged tags that must be individually screwed in one by one. The adhesive-backed tags do not adhere well to rough wood surfaces, and they definitely cannot withstand heavy winds, rains, and other extreme weather. Additionally, they cannot be secured with metal staples because the metal will interfere with the RFID readability. And generally, metal is not desirable in the downstream processing of lumber, such as pulping and plywood manufacturing. Also, these adhesive tags lie flat against the wood surface, where moisture on the lumber will interfere with the readability. The rugged tags must be individually screwed in one by one, which is extremely time-consuming, and they are also very expensive. At Utility Composites, we have been in the wood fastening market for 25 years, and we are expert at fastening non-metal fasteners into rough wood surfaces. Several years ago, we set out to develop the best tag for tracking rough wood inventory. And after a lot of ups and downs and a lot of hard work, we are proud to present to you our patented SUNDOG RFID staples. Pam, can you tell us a little more about SUNDOG?
Sure, I'd be glad to. SUNDOG RFID is a truly innovative product with some incredibly unique features. It's comprised basically of three components. It's got a UHF chip, a dipole antenna, and it's enclosed in an aerospace-grade composite material that's very strong. That is formed into the shape of a staple, and then it's collated into 25 staples. That means 25 tags in the strip. This is the most unique feature of any RFID that I know of, because you can take the whole strip and load it into a tool, a handheld tool, and we have manual tools and pneumatic tools, and you can drive in those tags as easily as driving in a metal staple. So it's simple and fast, and I don't believe there are any other RFID tags out there that are collated to install with a hand tool. Amazing. They're designed to drive in and hold securely into the wood, and with the design of the antenna that we have, we get up to 11 meters of read range. That's about 36 feet. We've designed it to be able to withstand all kinds of outdoor weather conditions, and even to be able to withstand high temperatures that are used in things like kiln drying and water bath cooking for veneer logs.
So why did Utility Composites decide to develop SUNDOG, and who will benefit from using it?
The answer to that question will be helpful for potential customers as well as RFID integrators when I talk about the applications and the benefits of the product. But back to why did we do this? As you mentioned earlier, Utility Composites has been in the wooden fastening market for 25 years with non-metal fasteners. And most of our products have direct application in the lumber market. So we've been in the lumber market for a long time and we're very familiar with that market. So in that process of reading trade literature for lumber, reading technical articles, talking to experts in that market, and even receiving phone calls from mills asking for the product, we knew that this market was going to move to RFID technology for inventory tracking and inventory management. Lumber customers needed a tag that they could attach on the log and track it from the forest floor through the grading yard, coming into the mill, and then through the demanding processes that the mill has. The existing technology for tracking their inventory has been barcodes, but barcodes don't give them near the visibility that RFID technology does, so it's very, very limited. The read range for barcodes is very short, so you have to have the reader very close to the tag. So somebody has to go around with a handheld reader and read every tag for every inventory item in order to know what their inventory is. So when the logs are stacked up 20 feet high or more, they can't reach up there and get the inventory. So they've been limited to maybe having inventory as it comes in and then inventory at the very last step at best. We realized that nobody was developing an RFID tag that could handle the demands of lumber processing. And since we were in this market, and since we were doing fastening with rough wood surfaces, we felt uniquely qualified to develop an RFID tag for lumber. As we got close to market with this product, we started going to trade shows and we put up the information on our website, and we got calls from a lot of different kinds of markets that were interested in the SUNDOG RFID. Applications such as wooden pallets, wooden utility poles, railroad ties, and even live trees. These all have challenges of RFID in implementation, but all of these applications, including lumber, have two things in common. One is that they all have rough wood surfaces that they need to tag, and two is they can all benefit greatly from using RFID technology.
So if a company with one of these applications decides they want to use SUNDOG, how do they start implementing the technology?
I would like to say that that's as simple as calling us to purchase a box of SUNDOG tags and an installation tool, but it's not that easy. In order to get the full benefits of RFID technology, it requires a systems approach. You have to develop the infrastructure, and that includes the hardware, that's fixed readers and antenna, and handheld readers, and even the back-end computer. You have to have the software, which includes the user interface in the handheld unit and the back-end database with any kind of programming needed to analyze the data. And you need the tags. So RFID implementation requires a complete systems approach. But the good news is, when using RFID, you can have a picture of your inventory that's complete at any time, real-time inventory. You can reduce your inventory losses. You can see your in-process inventory, and you can save time because reading the tags is automatic with the fixed readers. So overall, you can save money with the RFID technology. System integrators have the expertise needed for this infrastructure, and they know how to design and install these kinds of systems.
We've had multiple inquiries from different companies who are wondering if SUNDOG would be a good fit for their needs. So the first company is a lumber mill, and they're looking for a solution to the challenge of tracking their loads of lumber throughout their mill. Right now they have no way of knowing which loads are finished and ready to ship and where the loads in progress are throughout their facility. Currently, they have to go through and physically check each location if they need any information about the loads. So it costs them a lot of time. So their idea was to put one RFID tag on each load of lumber and then have scanners at the entrance and exit of kilns and the planer mill, and also have readers on their forklifts. So there are a lot of extreme demands for this application. The wood throughout the process will have between 20 and 80% moisture, and also during the drying process the temperature will range between 100 and 240 degrees Fahrenheit. and it'll stay there for 40 hours where the moisture or the humidity will be 100% for most of this time. And the way they described it is the water is literally pouring from the wood while it's being dried. Now once the loads are completed, they're stored outside where the temperature can range between -40 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And this company told us that they receive on average 2 to 6 feet of snowfall per year. Do you think that SUNDOG can handle these conditions?
Yes, definitely. This is precisely why we developed this SUNDOG RFID tag. Now let me make sure I have all the requirements for this customer. First of all, obviously the kiln is the most difficult thing, going through for 240 degrees Fahrenheit for 40 hours in high humidity and water. They also want to be able to read the tags from the forklift or from the portals. They want to be able to read tags if they're attached to something with high moisture content. They have a high variation, extreme variation in their weather conditions and temperatures, so they probably want to be able to install the tags and read the tags at those different conditions. And then they mentioned snow. So Utility Composites has done extensive testing of the SUNDOG tags. We have fastened those tags onto logs that are hardwood logs in different temperatures when they're not frozen and when they're frozen. We've read those tags. We have tested in outdoor conditions, raining and sleeting and snowing, and we have tested them at high temperatures in a cooking bath, and we've tested them at high temperatures in an oven. And we found that we can drive into those hardwoods, even up to hickory, when it's a moist log. We found that we can read those with no problem at all because of our unique antenna design. We have found that we can drive into frozen logs provided that you don't have to have it drive in so deeply. It won't drive in quite as deep, but it works just fine. We have the read distance for portals or for readers that are on forklifts. And from our high temperature testing, which went up to above 400 degrees Fahrenheit, we know certainly that we can handle the kiln temperature and still be able to read the tag after it comes out. We were doing a field test one time, and we had our SUNDOG tags attached to logs, and they were on the logging truck, and we were at the mill waiting for the truck to come, and it was freezing out, and it was sleeting, and it was nasty weather. And finally the truck shows up, and we start scanning the tags, and we noticed one tag that was completely crusted over with ice, all over the antenna and all over the tag, and we thought, we're not reading that one. And we were reading it. It wasn't giving us any problem at all. But that's just anecdotal. If we had to read through snow, I think we could pretty much anticipate that we'd have trouble, because we know that moisture scatters the signal that we're sending and trying to receive back. So we doubt that any RFID tag would be able to be read through snow. Hopefully the customer doesn't have to have reading through snow, maybe in snowing conditions. But if they have a pallet or a load that they have tagged, they put the tag on it and then they bring it with the forklift and put it out in the yard, and then it snows a couple of feet. When they come back out to get the load and they pick it up, hopefully the snow will fall away and they'll still be able to read that tag at that time. So it is clear that SUNDOG RFID meets all the requirements for this customer, except maybe reading through snow. The results of our testing and our best practices can be found on our website, www.sundog-rfid.com. If there are any potential customers that want to use SUNDOG RFID tags in their RFID implementation, we recommend that they get samples from us and test those in their application to make sure that our product performs the way they expect it to. We will provide complete technical support to ensure that they get optimum performance from SUNDOG RFID tags.
So another mill contacted us, and they were looking to put a passive RFID tag on each unit of their outbound number. So when their units are completed and ready to be shipped, they get sent out to the yard where they wait until the truck comes to pick them up. However, when they're in the yard, they often get shuffled around, and by the time the truck gets there, nobody knows where it is. So they spend a lot of time going back out and finding each unit. So they would like to put a tag on each unit and quickly locate it using an RFID reader. This would require a large quantity of tags, and they would prefer it if the tags were either reusable or were not very expensive. And also the tags must have a unique number so that they know this is the right unit. Do you think that this is a good application for SUNDOG?
Yes, this is a little bit simpler application because they won't need the fixed readers or antennas. They'll need the handheld reader and they'll need the back-end database, but they don't have to go through optimizing where those fixed readers are. Yes, it is possible to locate a specific tag on a specific unit if you know the unique identifier for that tag. So when they tag the unit initially, they'll scan that tag and then they will enter the data for that specific unit. And later, when they want to find that unit, they will enter that number, that unique number, into the handheld reader, and they'll go out in the yard, and when they get within the range of that tag, the reader will tell them that it's within the range. So they will, at that time, then turn down the power of the reader until they get closer and closer and can determine which load it is. It's kind of like the game we played when we were kids, you know, you're cold, you're warmer, you're hot. And it sounds like it might take a long time, but considering that these readers read hundreds of tags per second, it's very quick compared to somebody going out and visually reading each unit in order to find the one that they're looking for. They also asked about reusability of the tags. We don't recommend that you reuse the tags for several reasons. First of all, our tags are designed to fasten securely to the wooden surface, even to the point of tamper resistance. So if they are able to get those tags out without damaging them, then they have individual tags that are no longer collated. And they would have to try to put those into the hand tool one by one, and I'm not so sure how well they would drive when they don't have even spacing between them. So they could have trouble there. But the biggest reason that we don't recommend reusing the tags is that they lose a huge benefit from RFID technology, and that is analysis of the data. So if they reuse a tag, that unique number that was associated with another load now gets written over with the new load. So the only information that they have in their back-end database is the current inventory that they have on hand. They can't analyze anything from the past.
So earlier you mentioned system integrators. Can you explain to us a little more about what their job is in implementing RFID solutions, and really how would one of these companies go out and find one, and what do they get from using an integrator?
I will try to answer that question. First of all, we are not experts at RFID integration, and we don't expect that customers for this kind of technology would be experts at RFID integration. It requires an expert that knows about the hardware, that knows the software, that can program and do complete installation and support. So a systems integrator will initially start with a needs survey with the customer and find out exactly where the customer wants to get their data. And they'll optimize that, and then they'll come in and they'll do a site survey. They'll watch the flow of the goods, and they'll figure out the optimum placement of the readers and the antenna so that they don't get damaged and so that they read properly. They'll program the back-end database for any kind of analysis that the customer would want. They'll program the handheld to have a good user interface so they can enter all the data fields that the customer wants. And they will determine what the best tag is for their application. Different integrators have different levels of involvement in the process. Some will just simply specify the hardware and the software and the tags. Some will come in and do everything, all the way down to testing the system after it's done and training on the system. But certainly an RFID system integrator is key to a successful deployment of RFID technology. If you're trying to select a system integrator, I would first recommend that you find somebody that does inventory tracking, because there are all kinds of RFID integrators. Some do access control about getting in and out of buildings. Some do asset tracking. Some do vehicle tracking on toll roads. So you need somebody that does inventory tracking. It's a good idea to have somebody that's in your industry, that is familiar with your industry and has done some installations that are similar to yours, because they could come up with some good ideas that you didn't even think of. Many barcode integrators have expanded to include RFID integration. So maybe that barcode integrator that set up your system 30 years ago would be the right contact for upgrading your system to RFID technology. UCI doesn't have any partnerships or agreements with any RFID integrators, but if you're having trouble finding the right integrator, we will do everything we can to help.
Right. And so from the other side, as an integrator, why would they want to recommend or specify SUNDOG tags?
The job of a good integrator is to meet the needs of the customer and to choose the best tag for their application. So RFID system integrators that have ever dealt with rough wood surfaces will clearly see the benefits of the SUNDOG RFID tag. It's installed very quickly, it's securely fastened to rough wood surfaces, it has a long read range and a wide read angle. It can withstand all kinds of conditions, including outdoor temperatures, and stay out in the weather, and it can withstand high temperature processes. So, if you're an RFID integrator doing inventory tracking and you've had problems with rough wood surfaces, please contact us. We would love to get some samples in your hand for testing the product. Applications such as logs and lumber, utility poles, wooden pallets, railroad ties, and live trees can now benefit from RFID technology using a tag that was tailored for their applications.
Yeah, it sounds like a great opportunity for these integrators to finally reach into these markets with rough wood inventory and challenging environments. Well, Pam, thank you so much for your time and expertise on SUNDOG RFID.
My pleasure, Richard.
And if you would like to learn more about using SUNDOG in your application, or if you just have any questions, we would love to hear from you. Please call us at 512-846-4027 or email us at info@sundog-rfid.com. You can also reach us through our website, www.sundog-rfid.com. Thanks for watching.